again, welcome to Cal Studio. Today we're going to talk about best singing practices, 4 things we need to remember to get the best, healthiest technical singing. Here we go. Breathe low, hot potato, expansion, sunset, tube, tone, and articulation. Breath is the commodity of our singing. Our breathing needs to be low, silent, quick, in and out through the mouth, and with an open chest. Breathing nice and low into a 360-degree belt. If you want to feel how it feels, is to keep one arm up to the sky, breathe in, and you'll see how low your breath goes. When we're standing, we want our feet to be hip-width apart, our body nice and tall as if there's a string pulling you from the top of your head. Your body feels activated but also relaxed. So you want your jaw, tongue, and neck to be nice and loose and limber while your body is activated. Hot potato is the space we create at the back of our throats. It's called a soft palate lift. And what that does is when we raise the soft palate, it allows notes to sit and to resonate more naturally, better pitch accuracy, and a warmer, richer tone. What I think about is putting a hot potato at the back of my throat. So every time you breathe in, while you're breathing nice and low, you're also thinking hot potato. Be sure that you're not pulling your tongue back when you yawn or create the hot potato space. E for expansion. A lot of singers feel like they need to squeeze into the nose in order to feel like they're supporting or tense the muscles. Support is exactly the opposite. Support is maintaining or expanding into the space that we have already created in our bodies. So mainly the space we create when we breathe low into our sides, front, and into our back, and we create the hot potato space into the back of our soft palate. Those spaces need to remain open in order for our sound to be supported. So what expansion is imagining that that space is growing in order to keep it as open as possible and to improve on our airflow. A lip trill or lip bubbles, bubbling your lips like this. Keep that going for different reps. Let's start with reps of 4. So every time you breathe in, breathe low, hot potato. Here we go. Release, breathe low, hot potato. While I'm doing that, I'm thinking expand, grow into my sides, and expand into my soft palate lift. That way, those spaces are constantly remaining open, which is how we support our sound. The more this strength develops to keep open instead of keep closed, the more our sound is able to be supported and we have more freedom when we sing. Another thing that you can do is work into water. That's nice and even air. Let's do 10. Here we go. Sunset. We have one voice which separates into 2 different kinds of resonances, chest resonance and head resonance. Chest resonance is where the sound in our lower register resonates in our chest cavity, and head resonance where the sound in our upper register resonates in our head cavities. Vocal cords on the lower end are thicker and fatter, creating a more resonant full tone, and in our head resonance the vocal cords are thinner, resonating quicker because of the frequency in our head cavities and spaces. The mixed voice in between them, which is the passage and the transition between the two to create a smooth bridge between the natural registers. I like to think of chest voice as the color red and head voice as the color yellow. We want to mix the colors as naturally and seamlessly as possible. We work on balancing our airflow over our chords to mix between the colors. Your lower notes will naturally need a little bit more air because the chords are thicker down there. Higher notes need less air because the chords are thinner and more tender. If I'm working on transitioning, we're first going to do a lip trill. And I'm imagining all the sound happening in a tube at the back of my throat. Breathe nice and low and keep the sound moving in that tube from one part of the spectrum to the other. Not carrying too much weight. Getting stuck. We keep it nice and movable, but not keeping it too light. This is keeping it too light. A consistent, nice tone that's nice and movable. Practice that. Try and get it to be flexible. Keep open. Then I'll go to water and do exactly the same thing. Then we will go on a clean vowel. T, T. At this point, Keep your jaw, your tongue, everything nice and relaxed. The only things that are activating are your lower space. We're keeping this open, we're keeping the back space open. There needs to be a transfer of weight in order for the resonance to transition naturally from the bottom of our range to the top of our range. Over the break, we work on helping our voice naturally navigate, passing over control to the other register. If we force our chest voice too high, our head voice becomes weak. And if we push our head, or if we carry our head voice too low, we have a weaker sound or a loftier sound. So we need to blend the two, and people mix at different points in their voice. So you can strain strength into your chest voice and into your head voice so that they can become equal partners in the relationship. If you feel like it's going too heavy, getting stuck there, we need to create space and let that transition or that passing over of power between the voices to happen. So let it go from red to yellow. T. Create that space. T. T. Then try it the other way around. T. Giving yourself, showing yourself that you're able to control that transition. T. And come back down. T. And don't worry, if your head voice isn't quite as strong yet, it will develop once we get things aligned and not pushing too much air through our top notes. T. So try and keep the consistent, flexible, light air going through your full register. That is the first way to start controlling. Getting an even tone throughout your range, getting no manipulation happening, expanding into our space, and getting some good technique. Thinking that our sound exists in a tube going from one spectrum to the other is very, very useful in getting an even keel sound between your registers. Tone or timbre is created by placing or resonating the sound in different spots in our head cavity. We can also play with the sunset blend here to get a beltier tone if we bring a little bit more of the red color or chest voice into our sunset, and to get more of a lighter sunburst color by bringing in more of the head voice into our mix. T. Just that's full chest voice. It resonates naturally in my chest. You can actually feel it resonating, which is how you know. If you want to approach it from a lighter head voice placement, I think to myself, more space, and I keep it lighter. T. You can imagine making it more airy. T. And you can imagine it full, beltier, more strong. T. Depending on how much air you put, how much you compress your chords, how you think of the space where you're putting the sound. So when you're up in your head voice, T. Imagine bringing more spoken register up there. So T, T. If you think about speaking over here, like imagine that you are speaking on this note, then we bring that idea up into our head voice. T. So we try and keep a little bit more of the spoken register up in our head voice to give it a little bit more strength and to give it brightness. I imagine that by biting into an apple in my head. T. And that helps me. Here, vibrato comes in. Vibrato is something that happens when the vocal cords are approximating correctly and happily. That is something I think is important to train. So when you're working on holding a note, for example, for 4, on a clean vowel on T, try and work on, especially if you haven't developed vibrato yet, imagining the sound wave to be still and then wavering and then still. To start working on not getting a T laryngeal vibrato, but getting a nice diaphragmatic vibrato, which means that our diaphragm is waving and things are happening naturally. So if we hold T, imagine it going straight, vibrato, straight, and give it a number. That's good for breath control. So 4 for T, T. So I went 4 straight, 4 vibrato, 4 straight. And I'm imagining when the vibrato is happening, the sound is spinning. And the way I think about vibrato as well is really releasing into my jaw and expand and just letting things relax, always expanding into my support. I find that I need more expansion on the straight note. So experiment with different places in your head and imagine them as different colors, like bright pink or dark purple, and see what that feels like for you. Transcription is a great tool for developing different vocal colors, listening to vocalists and trying to say, how do they get that tone? How do they get that color? And try and copy them. T, T, T. Articulation is the shaping of our sound with our articulators, which are our tongue, our lips, our teeth, and our mouth. And it's also up to a lot of exploration. Everyone has their own accent, everyone has something special in their voice, and experiment with trying to bring your own sound, your own voice into how you sing. And explore, listen out for these things, and always remember, we've got our 4 best practices: breathe low, hot potato, expansion, expansion, sunset of colors from the red to the yellow, and then we've got tube, tone, and articulation. Thanks for joining me on Cal Studio. Subscribe below for more music related videos, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye.